Hello everyone. Today I'll show you how to make better sky islands and better terrain in general using this type of terrain. As you can see in my game, I revamped the sun island using this style, and to me this looks 10 times better than the original one. So yeah. So first, if you have script recovery, that's useless unless your Roblox crashes or something, because then you can use it to recover your progress. But anyway, you could see this sun island looks pretty bland. There's nothing much here. So I suggest before you start, you should probably move things away, make them a little bit more centralized. So something like this would be good. You could maybe keep some stuff. So then you could open terrain editor, click add. Instead of going for the circle, which will create these things, I suggest going with the cylinder. And make sure this is unlocked. Make it 10, 6, and then you could place it wherever you want. Maybe here or here, doesn't really matter. Then if you want, you could place some more layers on top, kind of like a cake. So now that I actually did it wrong. It's supposed to be stone, so that way it looks a little bit less ugly. No. So yeah, this one here too. If you covered anything, make sure to take out anything in there. If there is, you could just go into the terrain, check if anything's buried, and if it's close to being buried, just move it a little. So you have these slates on top. If you want, you could maybe go like on this one, for example, maybe add some more terrain on top, which I'd normally do. So now you have your terrain to build. So then you use the smoothing tool. It doesn't really matter if it's cylinder or square, but I prefer circle. So just smoothen out the areas a little bit that you want to smooth out. And you could smooth out here too, but I don't suggest doing that. So then you could flatten the top if it's messed up by smoothing. So proceed to do this for every single one of your terrain. So that, and also make sure there's kind of like a thing where players could get on top. I actually forgot to do that here, so always make sure of that, or else it's just going to be kind of useless terrain. Smooth here, smooth there, smooth, ooh. So then you can smooth out the terrain here. So now that you have your smoothened terrain, you can start painting. I suggest going for the minimal size so it doesn't mess up everything. But you could start painting grass over the stone. If there's any crevices you want to add, don't make sure nothing like that appears. So if you want to make things like this, you can always flatten the terrain. If you want little bits of grass on places. So you could place the grass here, maybe here. The flatten tool is very useful if you want to make, well, flat terrain. And when painting your things, also make sure to add ground so it looks a bit less, boring, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. It just looks nicer like that. And it's also really good to add ground as a pathway for your mountains, so it doesn't just look like so you can repeat this process for every single one of your plates. If you want, we'll get onto adding stuff to these in a little bit when I finish painting. Now I finished painting. If you're doing the same place as me, it's always good to add like it's always good to add like small pathways between your things so it's a bit more traversable if you're planning on to do that. If you're not, you could just leave it like this, but I always like doing that. So we have our terrain here. You could add some extra details to it by just like growing rock on top. That's not really necessary. So then if you want, you can maybe put like a cobblestone path. It doesn't have to be very big. It could just maybe like lead to the ancient tree or something. So if you also want, you could add like these arches. This is what I did for my game, and the arches, it looks better like that. But you don't have to, you really don't. It's just a decorative thing. And then you could flatten the top so it's less paint the ground, and you can repeat the process for you can add as much arches as you want, but for now I'll just add one. So now your new terrain is now pretty much done. I'm sorry for that. And this could apply anywhere. It doesn't have to be here. It could be here, here, there. Don't make sure not to make it too mountainous. Like in other version of Booga, this just used to be flat. So this was added. So it's best to use. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, hi again. I had to pause for something. So you could put this terrain anywhere if you'd like. Just make sure not to add too much so there's at least a little bit of flat land. Like maybe here you could place it, but not there. That's not really a good place. Not here. Not here. Maybe you could make separate islands for it, but if you're looking to make a 2019 feel, I don't suggest so, unless you're heavily dedicated. So now you could close out Terrain Editor unless you want to make some small changes. Well, actually, that could look a little better. There we go. So now you can close out Terrain Editor. Once you follow these steps, then you can proceed to press, place trees, bush, and just anywhere that, just anywhere where it'd be logical to put life forms. Don't make sure not to place too much. I think I placed too much here. But that's because I got rid of the rope for the queen ant, but it doesn't really matter unless you, but it's suggested not to put too many sun trees, then it would be really overpowered for essence, and I kind of don't want that in my game. But I balanced it out with the queen ant required to enter the sun island, so it doesn't matter now. Make sure your trees are actually put on the ground while you are making it. Don't make it too empty like this, but don't make it too full either. Just like in the middle of the place the bush if you want. And you should be good unless you want to add, I could add a little bushes. Like here, maybe another one here, duplicate here as well. It's best if you're looking for the sun island, it's best to put more bushes than trees, so essence could be less. If you're planning not to delete the sky rope, it doesn't really matter, but if you're planning to keep it, it's best not to put too many sun trees. And that should be it for the tutorial. We could go up and we could look at it from here by playtesting, and it should be pretty easy to implement back. So let's get our character by switching to the server and trying to find the character. Where is he? Unless he's there. So we go, and that should be him, I think. Yeah, that is. So we have our character, so locate, you could drag him around, maybe, and then we could take him up. Plop him down right there. Oh, and Tai Chi, that's nice. And you could check out your new island through this way. You could traverse through. Mine the trees, get essence, level up. And that should be it for this tutorial. Thanks everyone for watching, and see you next time.